Listen, I could go on and on about this. I really, really could. But you know what? Why? Why do that? When there's a better person to talk to about what I believe is the golden era of the WNBA. And by the way, there's no one better than this woman to talk to about it because she's done it all in the sport of women's basketball. She's a basketball Hall of Famer, an Olympian, a three-time All-American, former coach for the Detroit Shock, and currently serves as an NBA analyst for the OKC Thunder. She's also the 2018 champion head coach with the power in the Big Three. You know that league Ice Cube runs. Please welcome my guest, known as Lady Magic herself, the one, the only, Nancy Lieberman. Welcome, Nancy. Let's get right to it. You did an outstanding job covering Sunday's Indiana Fever's win over the Dallas Wings. I call this the golden era of the WNBA. First things first, would you agree with that?
I agree 100%. This is what we all dreamed about, and it's actually happening in real time. And today's players are absolutely phenomenal. The W is the most valued women's league, in my opinion, in the world right now.
In college, Caitlin Clark was named the winner of the Nancy Lieberman Point Guard of the Year 2 years in a row, if I remember correctly. I want to play something you said during the broadcast. Listen to this.
You know, when I walked in here before the game, there were just hundreds of fans lined up.
Oh, yeah.
What Caitlin Clark has done for the game is generational, and I just, as a baller to a baller, I just want to say thank you to you, Caitlin Clark.
Absolutely.
For just lifting our game up, you and so many great players. But what you're doing, you're going to make all these women multimillionaires one day, like Tiger did, like Michael Jordan did. And we shouldn't hate on her. We should celebrate her, not tolerate her.
You know, Nancy, I listened to that sound, and that was one of the biggest reasons I wanted you on today, because you clearly feel such a level of appreciation for the greatness, for the potential and the greatness that we're witnessing from Caitlin Clark. I want you to speak to why that is and whether or not you feel she's being appreciated enough by some members in the female basketball community.
Well, I think you bring up a great point. It's so important for us to understand that there's going to be generational players. I'm not saying everybody's not going to be at the same talent level, but I'm saying that Caitlin Clark has just caught the attention of the world. She might be right now, maybe her and Simone Biles, the most visible women athletes in the world right now. And this is a good thing for sports. And internally, we can be women. We could be our worst enemies. We should embrace people who take us to another level. And she's done that, and it's proven from her collegiate days with TV, with jersey sales, with arenas being filled. Why wouldn't you want to ride that train to success? Because it will change your tax bracket, incrementally because of what she's doing. And there's so many great players like A'ja Wilson. She's my unanimous MVP in this league. I don't think there's a player in the world right now better than A'ja Wilson. And we got great rookies. Angel Reese just, broke this incredible rebounding record, single season in WNBA history. These young players, Rickea Jackson, Carmela Cardoza. I mean, this is a great time. But it's the veterans and the youth. We have to come together because everybody has a hand in our growth. And, as good as some of the, we didn't move the needle like Caitlin is moving the needle, and everybody is benefiting from it.
You know, Nancy, I've been bringing this up for months, and I've been taking hits for months because I wanted her on Team USA, and I was not trying to say that she was better than than any of the 12 players that was on the squad. What I was saying is that female basketball, women's basketball has been starving for recognition for so long. All the hard work, all the tremendous effort, the blood, sweat, and tears that so many of these wonderful ladies have put into the game, including yourself, by the way, and the lack of recognition that has come along with it. Here was a person that America had gravitated to in such a way that you could utilize it to your advantage to benefit everybody. Yet folks were appalled that I would dare have the temerity to bring up marketing and promotion as something that should play a role in ultimately you deciding who's on Team USA to promote the game of basketball. Was I wrong in feeling that way?
Well, they came at you really hard, and that was short-sighted because, first of all, she very well could have played and should have played. In my opinion, I align with you on Team USA. I'm saying this, as you know, I'm still the youngest Olympic basketball player ever. In 1976, I was a high school senior. I was 17 years old. And the late Billy Moore, the Hall of Famer, my coach, she had one pick, and she picked me for the future of the game because she knew the last player who was a great and All-American, just a star of stars, wouldn't get a lot of minutes. So she used that position, and I thought that this team could have used Caitlin Clark for that same express reason because she was going to bring more eyeballs. She was going to make USA basketball, more prominent. And we're talking about economics here. We're not just talking about,
Right.
because. We're talking about we want long-term, sustainability and success. We can't sit there and say we want what the NBA guys have, 70 something years later. They built it to, that $8 billion a year business. And we're trying to build it now. And we have somebody who's moving the needle because the W right now is outdrawing Major League Baseball, some soccer, some of the golf, some of the other sports. We've never had this before. And for Caitlin and the Fever, I think 5 of the highest rated games this year have all been Indiana Fever. They lead in jersey sales. They lead in attendance. Any significant category that's tied to dollars and cents. And that's how we should be viewed, dollars and cents, because that's how you build a business. Then everybody goes up and everybody is successful together.
Explain what specifically you believe the issue is with Caitlin Clark in terms of the lack of support that she's received from some. Certainly not most, not all. Most people support her. They see her potential. They see her greatness. They see what she's done for the game. There's a level of appreciation. Even the great Dawn Staley, in winning the national championship, she thanked Caitlin Clark for what Caitlin Clark did for the game of for women's basketball or whatever. But there's been a small cadre of individuals that obviously have come across in a different fashion. What is the thing that you're hearing, Nancy, as to what their justification for feeling a bit reticent about throwing that lack of that support in Caitlin Clark's direction?
Well, it depends who you're talking to. If you're talking about the keyboard warriors who hide behind, 280, taps of their
Characters,
iPhone
yep.
or whatever they're using, they're going to say something that, first of all, they don't even realize that the players in this league are friends with one another. Okay. So you might sit there and try to create this animosity, or you might try to bring in, racism in this. And, there's no racism. You and I've been through this for a long time. I never came down the court and looked at somebody white or black and threw the ball to the white kid. I'm throwing it to the player who's the better player. They're trying to pit Angel and Caitlin against each other. They're friends, by the way. They're
Right.
helping grow the sport. And for those who, it's not a Caitlin thing, it's a people thing. I mean, people were so jealous of Michael Jordan back in 1984 when he came out of, UNC. Chicago Stadium was half empty prior to him arriving. Then the stadiums were filling up. Then TV wanted him and the Bulls on every game. By the way, you know this as a fact. David Falk, his agent, pulled his jersey out of the GLA because Michael Jordan's jersey, and I don't know the exact number, but let's say it was 90% of all jersey sales were Michael Jordan's jersey, and he was getting like 1/1300th of that, and all the money was
Right.
being, dispersed throughout all the players that were playing. He yanked his out because he saw the value of what was happening. Tiger Woods goes to the PGA, changes how the sport is viewed. It's not just a bunch of, white guys hitting balls in an elitist sport. It's changed. I mean, look at all the guys of color, women of color that play golf now because it's acceptable. You should be able to do what you love, but it was him who is the catalyst to change. And all of a sudden he gets to a certain point in his career and people are jealous and envious. He changed the TV ratings. He changed the purses. Did Scotty just win $25 million the other day? That's not because of Scotty. That's because of Tiger Woods. And I just don't understand people. Now you have signature shoes for both men and women because of what MJ did and how he and his team constructed business. Caitlyn is doing that right now, and she should be supported and not maligned for that.